Hi everybody, this is Maureen Wong from mycasestudies.blogspot.com. In case you didn't catch my last video that I did for Your Next Stamp, I explained how I used to have a yellow and orange pad under here that was made from 2 layers of fun foam that were 2 millimeters each. But it turned out that the 4 millimeter thickness was actually just a little bit too high and was throwing my MISTI off balance. So I had already bought some 3 millimeter fun foam from the craft store to make extra of these foam pads in case I wanted them in different colors or if I messed them up or something. So I just took a piece of that in black and I cut it to this size, the height of the MISTI, but a little bit less on the side so I have room to put my fingers under, and it actually is the perfect height for my MISTI. So that's why, in case you're wondering, now I don't have that super bright background on this side. It's because I put a new piece of fun foam, and this is the 3 millimeter again. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about ink swatching, and I know there are a lot of different ways to do ink swatching, and there are a lot of videos out there, a lot of products. I saw, I believe it was Christina Werner with Simon Says Stamp. She designed a swatching system that I really loved, all except for one thing, and that was that you had to either handwrite your manufacturer and color name, or you'd have to do the skinny label maker, and I am just really cheap and I did not want to do label maker, but I really hate my handwriting, so I didn't want to write that in either. So I actually came up with my own little swatch system. It's done on a ring also, but what it is I generated it in Excel, the program Excel, to make a sheet of swatches, and the sheet comes out looking like this, and you can see that this is one swatch. And the reason why I have this O in the top here is to punch the holes. It gives me a guide for punching the hole right in the middle, and then there's a space for a 1/2 inch piece of cardstock here, and then there's a space for the stamp, and I have a specific stamp that I'm using that fits in that space, and it's a border stamp from Your Next Stamp, and that's why I made my swatch this size, because I had a certain idea in mind of what I wanted on my swatch, and I wanted to try and fit as many as I could onto a page. It looks like I should be able to have one more column here, but for some reason it doesn't want to take it. So you can see I have Stampin' Up, and anytime I have matching cardstock, I'll put it on the swatch. If I don't have matching cardstock, then I'll just leave it open. And so I have Stampin' Up, I have a Muse Studio on here, which are pigment inks. The Stampin' Up are dye inks. I don't mind mixing them. For me, finding color is one of the most important steps when making cards. If I'm using pattern paper or certain colored pencils or something, I really like to match colors. And so I don't care usually what type of ink it is, I just care what the color is. So, and then I also have some Studio Calico in here, and I can't seem to find any of them now, but anyway, I know this is a lot of swatches, but I've been stamping for a really long time, so I've collected a lot of ink over the years. Mostly Stampin' Up because I've been a demo off and on for just years and years and years, and then I was a demo for a Muse Studio on and off too, so I got their line of pigment inks. And then recently I started collecting the My Favorite Things dye inks. So what I'm doing today is I'm swatching a couple of My Favorite Things inks, and I actually have a separate ring just for My Favorite Things. Normally what I would do is make a color chart on like a sheet this size and make a color chart and stamp all my colors, but recently My Favorite Things has been adding to their line, and I don't want to keep remaking or adding extra colors to it, because like I said, I don't like my handwriting, so if I add in something, I'd have to do it on the computer and reprint it. So I just made a separate ring, and this is serving as my color sheet for MFT dye inks. And then I also stamp a second time and put it in my master ring in case I'm just looking for a really specific color and I don't know whether or not I have it in my favorite things or Stampin' Up or Amuse. So that's my system right now. It's working really well for me, and I thought I'd share it with you today. And if you have Excel and you want to give it a try, let me know and I will send you the Excel file. And it's really easy. You just fill in the spaces for the manufacturer at the top. Well, it's the middle actually. The top line is where you make the holes. The middle line is where you put the manufacturer, and you can put type of ink if you want. And then the third line, the bottom line, is the color. And so let me show you how I'm doing this. I've got a couple of inks here. Well, let me first show you. What I do with this is I just trim it with scissors. I don't mind if it's a little off, but I just, well, first I get a 1/4 inch hole punch, line it up over that O, and punch out the hole first, and I go across the whole row of it, and then I cut them out into the individual swatches. And some of them I haven't finished cutting out. You can see that there's just 3 on here, and I'll get to those and cut them out when I'm ready to swatch them. But for today I have these 2, grape jelly and electric red, and let me just show you my swatching system. So I mentioned that I have a border stamp from Your Next Stamp, and this set is called Stripes and Stitching, and specifically I'm using this one here because it has really nice solid spaces, but then it has these little dots in it that I think give it detail, so you get a good idea of how it stamps with detail and with solid images, but in a very compact space. So I also have my MISTI out because my MISTI is going to help me to make sure that I'm stamping my swatches straight. And what I'm going to do is I put a piece of scratch paper down to catch the overstamp, and then I'm just going to line up my 2 ink swatches right here near the edge and hold them down with a magnet. And now I'm going to position my stamp, and I want that right up to the line, because I know that right up to the line means that it's going to fit right over the words and is not going to obscure the words from my ink swatch. Well, I have to put those back, but that's fine because I needed to position them. So I'll just put them back near the edge here. And then this one is the grape jelly, so I'm taking out my grape jelly ink pad. And then what I'm doing is, sorry, let me move this a little bit up. And then what I'm doing is just inking this side, because that's the side that's going to touch the swatches. And before I close it all the way, I'm going to make sure that I've inked up enough space there. And it looks like I might have missed a little space. So let me go back and ink up just a little bit more. And I've been using this stamp a lot, and I think it needs a good cleaning because it's not really sticking to the MISTI well, but there we go. Okay, so then I press down, and there are my swatches. 2 done at one time. It's really quick and easy. And then what I do is I just put one in one pile to put in my MFT ring, and one in the other pile to put in my master ring. And then what I need to do, of course, is clean off my stamp because it has that grape jelly ink on it. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my electric red, and I'm going to put it right in the same place where I put the other swatches. And then I'm going to take out my electric red ink pad, and same thing, I'm going to ink up just that half of the stamp that I know is going to touch the swatches, and then I'm gonna stamp it down. And there we go, 2 more swatches all done. And so I put them into their respective piles, and oh, look, I didn't do this one. So let me show you. I didn't punch the hole. So I have my 1/4 inch hole punch. I removed the cover that was over this so I can see exactly where I'm lining up my hole. So what I do is I just put that hole, wait, does it go this way? And I make sure it is centered. Then I punch that out, and there we go. Perfect centered circle or hole every time. And so that's my system, and like I said, if you're interested in it, please let me know and I can send you the file. Remember, you have to have Excel. I have the 2013 version, I believe, so you would have to have that. I don't know if the older versions can open the newer saved version, but you know, if you don't know, you can ask me and try. I don't mind sending the files. But I hope you like this idea, and thanks again to Ileana for the MISTI, because it makes doing these so easy, especially doing 2 at one time. It'd be really hard to hold them down and line them up really perfectly, but with the MISTI you can do it. So I hope you like my idea, and thanks very much for watching.